All right, thanks, guys. Welcome to the show. Just real quick, special announcement. I said it in the prior upload here today, but I just want to make sure you guys are aware that at the end of every video that I do the recap of all the picks that I make during the video, and it's in the final 30 seconds. So don't feel like you have to watch the entire video. I know sometimes you get busy, you're crunched for time. Sometimes you just don't have 20 minutes to dedicate to some random bald guy on YouTube. So don't feel obligated, don't feel like, oh, I can't watch the video today. I can't watch the upload. The quick pick recap is in the final 30 seconds of every video. So all my picks for this video, just fast forward ahead, skip ahead. They are located in the final 30 seconds of the video. All right, guys, we got ourselves another great slate of college basketball. We got ourselves a lot of marquee matchups here, some good conference matchups. As you can tell, or maybe not, battling the flu. Came down with the flu yesterday, and so was really enjoying a lot of the games last night, but I was kind of floating in and out of consciousness as the flu was kicking my butt. Still is today, but what was really surprising is my wife made me Theraflu, and I remember, Theraflu back in the day, especially when you were a kid, it tasted so bad. It was like gag-inducing, and I'll tell you, last night, that Theraflu, I don't know what she got, but it was fantastic. It was a quality hot beverage. It was good. Tasted like orange. It was like, it had a good aroma to it. So I enjoyed that. That was an excellent hot beverage, and I might think about doing the orange Theraflu in the daily hot drink rotation. But anyway, I find it weird. I'm going to get in the picks in just a second. I feel I got to. I find it very coincidental. I'm not a conspiracy guy. Of course, whoever starts off a sentence with "I'm not a conspiracy guy," you normally are. You're a nut job, which I totally am. But I find it ironic that I have not had the flu in over 10 years. Last time I had the flu was 2009. I was fresh out of college, and I was at my first job, and I missed a bunch of days because I just was like better. I couldn't get up. Felt like I was dying, and I just find it ironic that I catch the flu 11 years later, literally a week after my stepson gets his flu shot. My stepson got a flu shot last week. I get the actual flu this week, and I haven't had it in over 10 years. So anyway, there's some food for thought for you. All right, guys, I got to get into some picks here. I'm rambling. Of course, you guys are my only friends in the world, so I really don't have a lot of friends in real life. So figure I would just spout a little bit there. But anyway, we got ourselves another great slate of college basketball action here today. So let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to start off with Northwestern taking on Indy. And that's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that game. The Hoosiers are the 13-point favorite, total at 139. We saw a 1-point move toward Indiana and movement upward on the total. The Hoosiers open as the 12-point favorite, up to minus 13. Total open 138, up to 139. 61% are leaning Hoosiers, 52% shaded toward the under. Right now, Northwestern is plus 785 on the money line. Now, if you like Northwestern in the spot here, I'll tell you what, you're probably not in the popular decision. They've lost their last 4 straight. They're just 2-6 straight up in their last 8 games. They failed to cover the point spread against the likes of Hartford and Norfolk State within their last 10 games. So this team's struggling not only in real life but against the spread. And their offense, they're just averaging 67 points per contest. Now, the Hoosiers on the other side, winners of 7 out of their last 10. They're playing some decent basketball, certainly facing some stiff competition. And as a matter of fact, they have outright victories against the likes of Notre Dame, Florida State, and San Diego State. Now, this Indiana squad is averaging 78 points per contest. They're also ranking in the top 15 in defensive rebounding. Trace Jackson Davis, he's averaging 15 points a game, 8 rebounds, and 2 blocks. And Devontae Green, 13 points a game, 3 assists. Also, Justin Smith, can't forget about him. He's averaging a dozen a game, along with 5 rebounds. Now, Indy is 9-1 straight up on their home court. Very good as the home team. They're also covering 60% of their games at home as well. 7 out of their last 10 home games did stay under the total, so keep that in mind if you're betting a total in this one. Meanwhile, Northwestern 5-1 to the over away from home. I'm going to lean very chalky, kind of a square play here. Give me Indiana minus 13 and the over 139 in that game. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Fighting Irish taking on the Wolfpack, 7 o'clock, NC State. The Wolfpack are -4 at home, total at 148. Not a whole lot of movement on this total. Pretty good two-way action there. We did see a 1-point fade of NC State in the early wagering. They opened up as the 5-point favorite, down to -4. Total open and remains at 148. 51% are leaning NC State, 57% shaded toward the over. Right now, Notre Dame is plus $1.80 on the money line. Now, the Fighting Irish are 4-1 straight up in their last 5 victories against Syracuse and UCLA during that stretch. They're averaging 76 points per contest, and they're ranked in the top 35 in offensive rebounding. John Moody's averaging 16 points a game and 14 rebounds for the big man for the Fighting Irish. TJ Gibbs, 13 points a game, 4 assists, and Prentice Hubb, 12 points a game, 5 assists for Notre Dame. Now, NC State on the other side, solid basketball team, but they're kind of struggling against the point spread as of late. They failed to cover the spread in their last 3 straight games. They failed to cover against Appalachian State and the Citadel in that run there. They're also just 4-5 against the spread at home. They're giving up 71 points per contest on average. Now, 6 out of NC State's last 9 home games did stay under the total. Meanwhile, Notre Dame 9-5 to the under in their last 14. I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me Notre Dame +4 and the under 148 in that contest. Next matchup, Pitt taking on UNC, and that's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that game. Not sure if it's on our big screen in the back or not. I might have passed it. Like I said, I'm pretty sick here, guys, so no, I don't see it up there. But anyway, definitely a game of interest. Who'd have thunk? UNC, not on our big screen. But anyway, Pitt taking on UNC, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Chapel Hill. North Carolina's -4.5, total at 138. Not a whole lot of movement on the sides. Pretty good two-way action there. We also saw a 2.5-point move upward on the total. So once again, the Tar Heels open and remain -4.5. Total open 135.5 up to 138. 57% leaning toward North Carolina, 51% shaded toward the over. Right now, Pitt is plus $1.85 on the money line. The Panthers 8-2 straight up in their last 10. Marquee victories over the likes of Rutgers and Kansas State. They also rank in the top 25 in the nation in points allowed. Now, defensively, they're holding their opponents to just 40% from the field. We're looking at a very well-rounded Pitt Panther squad here. Now, UNC on the other side, really struggling this year. They have faced some really, really good competition, but they've come up short in those games. And as a matter of fact, they're just 2-5 straight up in their last 7, and they're covering just 30% of their games in their last 10. Offensively, they're shooting just 40% from the field, and they're allowing 70 points per contest. This certainly is not your typical North Carolina Tar Heel squad. Now, total-wise, UNC 5-2 to the under at Chapel Hill, 10-4 to the under in their last 14. Meanwhile, 4 out of Pitt's last 5 stayed under the total as well. I'm going to lean toward the Panthers on the road here. I don't want to leave that half a point out there, so I'm going to buy it up and lean Pitt Panthers +5 after buying the hook and the under 138 in that game. All right, next matchup. It is going to be Florida State taking on Wake Forest, and that is another game that is not on our big screen in the back, but that is a 7:30 Eastern tip-off in that game. Now, Florida State is -7 away from home, total at 143. We did see a half a point move toward Florida State and movement downward on the total. The Seminoles open 6.5 up to -7. Total open 144 down to 143. 61% are leaning Seminoles, 88% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Demon Deacons are plus 255 on the money line. Now, Wake Forest has failed to cover the point spread in they failed to cover the point spread in 3 out of their last 5 home games. They're also allowing 72 points per contest. Meanwhile, the Seminoles on the other side, right in the middle of a 6-game winning streak, getting red hot right now with marquee victories over the likes of Louisville, Georgia Tech, and Clemson during that 6-game winning streak. They're averaging 76 points per contest. They're also shooting 47% from the field. They rank the top 10 in the nation in defensive field goal percentage on the road. Trent Forrest, 12 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Devin Vassell, 12 points a game, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. And MJ Walker, he is averaging 11 points per contest, for Florida State. Now, the Seminoles are 60% to the over in their last 5. Wake Forest 4-0 to the over in their last 4 themselves. I'm going to lean Florida State -7 and the over 143 in that game. All right, next matchup, Kansas taking on Iowa State. And that is another game that's not on our big screen, but that's a game of importance. And, of course, once again, Kansas taking on Iowa State, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that contest. Kansas State is -4.5 total at 145. We saw a 1.5-point fade of Kansas and movement downward on the total. The Jayhawks open as the 6-point favorite, down to -4.5. Total open 147, down to 145. 63% are leaning Jayhawks, 51% shaded toward the over. And right now the Cyclones are plus $1.70 on the money line. Now Iowa State struggling as of the past couple of weeks, losers in 3 out of their last 4. They actually suffered an outright loss to Florida A&M in those 3 losses. They're allowing 71 points per contest. Meanwhile, the Jayhawks on the other side, they're looking like one of the top contenders in the country. They're averaging 79 points per contest. They also rank in the top 3 in the country in offensive field goal percentage. They're shooting 51% from the field this year. They're 9-1 straight up in their last 10, with marquee victories over the likes of West Virginia, Stanford, and Colorado. Devin Dotson, 19 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals for this Kansas squad. Udoka Azubuike, 13 points a game, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks. And Ochai Agbaji, 11 points a game, 4 rebounds for Kansas. The Jayhawks rank in the top 20 in defensive field goal percentage. They're also allowing 61 points per contest. I'm going to lean toward the road chalk in this one. Give me Kansas -4 after buying the hook in the under 145 in that game. All right, next matchup, Seton Hall taking on Xavier. And that's going to be an 8:30 Eastern tip-off in that game. The Musketeers are the 3-point favorite at home. Tried to get that one out there. Once again, Xavier, they are the 3-point favorite at home. Total at 138.5. We saw a 1-point move toward Xavier and a 3.5-point move upward on the total. The really struggling on this read here, guys. The Musketeers open as the 2-point favorite, up to -3. Total open 135, up to 138 and a hook. 58% are leaning Xavier, 59% shaded toward the over. Right now, Seton Hall is plus $1.45 on the money line. Now, Seton Hall, they've lost 2 out of their last 4 games as the official road team. They're also shooting just 38% from the field when traveling. Xavier, on the other side, 6-2 straight up in their last 8. Outright victories against the likes of St. John's, TCU, and Cincinnati. They're also a perfect, unblemished 9-0 straight up on their home court. And defensively, they're holding their opponents to just 38% shooting from the field. Najee Marshall, 17 points a game, 6 rebounds for the Musketeers. Paul Scruggs, 15 points a game, 4 rebounds. Scruggs is shooting 51% from the field for Xavier. And one more guy we can't forget about, Tyreek Jones, 13 points a game, double-digit rebounds per game he's averaging. That's right, 10 boards a game for Tyreek Jones. The Xavier squad, they are allowing just 64 points per contest, and their opponents are shooting just 27% from downtown. Now, total-wise, Xavier is 4-0 to the under in their last 4. They're also 80% to the under in their last 10. I'm going to lean Xavier Musketeers -3 and the under 138.5 in that game. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Arkansas taking on LSU. 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that contest there. The Tigers of LSU are -6, total at 146. We saw a 1-point move toward LSU and movement downward on the total. Tigers open as the 5-point favorite, up to -6. Total open 146.5, down to 146 even. 54% are leaning LSU, 55% shaded toward the over. Right now, Arkansas is plus 235 on the money line. The Razorbacks are 9-1 straight up in their last 10 games. Outright victories over the likes of Texas A&M, Indy, and Georgia Tech. They're averaging 71 points per contest on the road. They're also giving up just 69 points per game. Couple more things to add about Arkansas. They rank in the top 3 in the nation in defending the 3-ball. Mason Jones is averaging 20 points a game, 6 rebounds, and 2 steals for the Razorbacks. Isaiah Joe, 17 points a game, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals. And Jimmy Witt Jr., 13 points a game, 6 rebounds for this Razorback squad. Arkansas ranks in the top 20 in the country in points allowed. Meanwhile, defensively, their opponents are shooting just 22% from downtown. Now, LSU on the other side, losers of 2 out of their last 4. They also lost against Eastern Tennessee and Utah State within their last 10 games. I think this is a pretty good spot for Arkansas backers. I'm going to lean Razorbacks +6 and the under 146 in that game. Next matchup, Duke taking on Georgia Tech. And that is not on our big screen. Man, I don't know. This Xfinity app, they don't even put good games on the board. It's ridiculous. But anyway, Duke taking on the Rambling Wreck. That's right, Georgia Tech, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that matchup. The Blue Devils are 11.5 away from home. Total at 139 and a hook. We saw a half a point fade of Duke and movement upward on the total. Blue Devils open as the 12-point favorite, down to -11.5. Total open 139, up to 139.5. 61% are leaning Duke, 89% shaded toward the over. Right now, Georgia Tech, the Yellow Jackets, they are +$6 on the money line. Now, if you like Georgia Tech in this game here, just keep in mind they've lost 5 out of their last 8 games. They've lost by double digits in every one of those losses, by the way. They're just not even competitive in those losses. They're averaging just 67 points per contest. They're also shooting just 28% from downtown. Now, Duke on the other side, winners of their last 7 straight. Nice little win streak for them there. They beat Miami, Virginia Tech, and Michigan State during that run. They rank in the top 5 in the country in scoring, top 10 in offensive rebounding. Vernon Carey, 18 points a game, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks. Trey Jones, 14 points a game, 7 assists, and 2 steals. And, of course, Matthew Hurt, 12 points a game, 4 rebounds for him. This Duke squad is averaging 84 points per contest. They're also ranking in the top 20 in offensive field goal percentage. Meanwhile, defensively, they're allowing just 62 points per game. I'm going to go ahead and lean Duke -11.5 and the over 139.5 in that game. All right, next and final matchup for the show. Not sure if it's on our board or not. Probably not. Oh, yes, it is. Look at that. Illinois taking on Wisconsin, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that matchup there. The Badgers are the 4-point favorite, total at 126. We saw a half a point move toward Wisconsin and movement downward on the total. The Badgers open 3.5 up to -4. Total open 126.5 down to 126. 64% are leaning Wisconsin, 55% shaded toward the under. And right now, Illinois is plus $1.80 on the money line. Now, if you like the Fighting Illini, they're just 1-4 straight up away from home. They've actually scored just 69 points or less in 5 out of their last 7 games. The Badgers, on the other side, a perfect, unblemished 7-0 straight up at home this year, 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 games at any location. They have successful covers over the likes of Ohio State, Rider, Tennessee, and Indiana. Nate Roivers, 15 points a game, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks for the Badgers. Demetric Trice, 10 points a game, 4 rebounds. And Kobe King, 10 points a game, 3 rebounds for Wisconsin. This Wisconsin squad is 10-0 straight up in their last 10 head-to-head matchups with Illinois. They went 8-2 against the spread in those 10. Give me Wisconsin -4 and the under 126 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our quick pick recap, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we do daily premium sports picks on that website, beginning at just $1.99 per month. I like Indiana -13 over 139, Notre Dame +4 under 148, Pitt Panthers +5 under 138, Florida State -7 over 143, Kansas -4 under 145, Xavier -3 under 138.5, Arkansas +6 under 146, Duke -11.5 over 139 and a hook, Wisconsin -4 under 126. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some shout-outs, once again brought to you by myself, my own website, patreon.com/BrockPage. Shout out to Beamerball 4420, Pittsburgh Gentleman PA, Thomas Barumble, S. The Great, Sebastian Mischel, A6B9FU11. Shout out to Patrick H., Rocky Balboa, Curtis Jane, Jeff Albert, Mrs. Brown 720. Shout out to New Era, Keysase, New Jersey, Josh Davis, Blue Torpedo, and last but certainly not least, gotta give a shout out to my good friend Calico Jones. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget, at least consider checking out my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. It's a really neat website. We do daily premium sports picks on that site, beginning at just $1.99 per month. We have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. And if you're curious and you want to see how well I'm doing, my record is right on the homepage. All you got to do is click the link in the description section below. My current record on Patreon and all those different tiers and categories is right there on the homepage. You can check me out and see how well I'm doing very good in many of those different tiers, not so good in some others. I mean, that's just the way it works. But yeah, my record is right on the homepage. Now, you're probably wondering, like, dude, what are you smoking right now? You just gave me an entire slate of college basketball games for free. Why would I pay you? That's a great question. Pretty much what we do here on Brock Page Productions is we handicap every single game on the board, both the side and the total, or most games on the board. And the problem with that is, if you were to bet your hard-earned money on every single game, side and total, it's a losing formula. It's not a winning formula for success. It's too many games. The math is against you. The books are way too smart. They're way too sharp. So what we do on Patreon is we really kind of narrow it down and focus in on 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're high percentage selections, games that I personally have action on. If I win, you win. If I lose, unfortunately, you lose as well if you're retailing those picks. But anyway, if you're looking for more information, it's a really cool site. I made a lot of really great friends on that site. Once again, patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, let's go ahead and just go through our quick pick recap once again. And that quick pick recap is brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. Link for that site is in the description section below. I like Indiana Hoosiers -13 over 139. Notre Dame +4 under 148. Pitt Panthers +5 under 138. Florida State -7 over 143. Kansas Jayhawks -4 under 145. Xavier -3 under 138.5. Arkansas +6 under 146. Duke -11.5 over 139.5. And last but certainly not least, I like Wisconsin -4 and the under 126 in that game.